I'm a bit hungry.
G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Same Kitchen, where I bring to you budget-friendly recipes with sustainability in mind. So at Sam's house, craving trend is like fashion. They come and go. And currently what's trending is bagels. So a while ago, I did make a bagels video that uses yeast as a leavening agent. The recipe is well and good, but when it's down to crunch time, you got 30 minutes for lunch, but you really crave bagels. That is when you give in. Go out and buy bagels and cure your craving. You can easily spend $10, $15, $20 with a bagel and a drink. And that is money, bang, just disappear from your wallet. So I get down to work. I mean, bagels are just dough with little bubbles inside and you bake it, right? So it can't be that hard. So I did my research, simplified the ingredients and got down to this recipe. It's vegan friendly, it's cheap, it's easy to make, and you can whip it out in 20 minutes. How good is that? So I present to you my 3 ingredients bagel at this price point. Alright, that is all I want to say to you. Make sure you stay tuned to the end for a really easy and delicious veggie bagel recipe. So to make our bagels today, we're starting with some plain flour and some water to form the dough, some salt to season, and as discussed earlier, we're using baking powder as our leavening agent. This is all we need. We'll get this out of the way and get cooking. Hey, just want to intercept before we move any further. Just to keep the recipe simple, I know plain flour is more common than self-raising flour. If you do have some self-raising flour, you can use it and probably just reduce the amount of baking powder that you add in by probably 30-40%. But also, baking powder is essentially baking soda plus some dry acid. You can absolutely replace it with just the good old bicarb with vinegar. Bicarbs are usually about 3-4 times stronger. So if in any recipe you want to replace baking powder, remember that to reduce your amount. Anyway, that's all I want to share, and let's keep cooking. So first thing we're going to do is to weigh out the amount of flour needed. Our bagel dough is going to be a 50% hydration dough. To make 4 bagels, I'm adding 300 grams of flour. I got the recipe broken down to singular portion. So all you need to do is multiply the numbers on the screen by the number of bagels you want to make, and voila, magic. Next, we're adding 10% weight of our flour in baking powder. So that is 30 grams of baking powder for 300 grams of flour. Next, 8 grams of salt. Now give our dry ingredients a mix. Last but not the least, to form a 50% hydration dough, that is 150 grams of water. Now, all of our ingredients are in. We'll get it all mixed through to start forming the dough. I got the spoon we used earlier handy, so I'll mix it until there's no visible liquid in the bowl. Give the spoon a quick clean so little is wasted. And then, hands in to put the dough together. Knead it a few times until it all starts to clump together. And at this stage, it's going to look a little bit rough, and that is absolutely okay. Give our flour and water some time to make friends. They'll smooth it out over time. Cover the dough with the bowl we just used and let it rest for 10 minutes.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
We come back to the dough and now we knead it until it's smooth. Should only take a couple of minutes here. Use the base of your palm and press the dough downwards with your body weight, nice and firm. Once it's all smooth, form it into a dough and we want to portion it up. Finger the dough, put your finger through right down the middle of the dough. And we break it up from one end to get a uniform log of dough. And here, cut it into 4 portions. I'm a bit of an anal, so I like to be really precise, but feel free to just eyeball it if you wish. We don't judge here. Next step, we are shaping the dough into bagels. Grab one portion and gently roll it into a long cigar shape. After that, press the dough flat. and we grab the rear edge of the dough and fold it in. Do a couple of folds to create some tension on the bagel surface and roll it into a long tube again. To close the bagel off, apply some water on one end and we'll pull the other end to form it into the classic bagel shape. Give the joint two ends some pressure so they stick together nice and tight. Get another portion and we'll do it again. Roll the dough out into about a width of 2 hands. Press the dough flat. Grab the long edge of the dough and fold it into itself. The tension here will help with the shape of the bagel when being baked. Roll it up. And we join the two ends of the long dough into a classic bagel shape. Once all of the dough's done, grab a baking tray or baking sheet. Let the dough rest for 5 minutes to catch some breath after our physical abuse just then. I forgot to mention, best to turn the oven on at the start of the recipe on fan force at 220 degrees Celsius. Next, load up a mid-bay saucepan with some water on the stove and keep it on medium to high heat to bring it up to boil. Once the water is rumbling, time to bring these bagels over to throw them in hot water. Nothing too complex here. Throw the bagels in the boiling water. These won't float initially, so be sure to give it a little stir to make sure that they don't stick to the bottom of the pot. About 2 minutes in, the bagels should be floating now. We flip them over and cook for another 2 minutes on the other side. Check out my flipping actions. Once 2 minutes is up, get them out of the pot onto the baking sheet. Here, I tested 2 boiled ones versus 2 without to see what happens. Into the oven, and you can see there's a significant size difference with the boiled one being 30 to 40% larger than the ones down the back. While the bagels are baking in the oven, I came back to the workbench and get prepping with our veggie bagel filling. Started with some zucchini, I halved and cut the zucchini into some thick slices with 2 C's. Next, some slices of tomato to bring that freshness to the bagel. And then, just some crunchy cost lettuce. Over to the stove, we are grilling the zucchini in a pan on medium heat. Sprinkle in some salt to season, and press the zucchini against the pan to get some good char marks. Once they put on some golden grill marks and delicious char flavor, they are good to come out. Meanwhile, the bagel should be good to go after about 15 minutes in the oven. As you can see, the ones not boiled in front are kind of messed up. To assemble our bagels, first we slice it in half, well, unless you have better suggestions. I apply some cheeky mayo on with a couple of slices of thick cut zucchini, some lettuce for crunch, and tomato. Salt and pepper to season. And that is a bloody good looking lunch right there. The cost breakdown is right on the screen here. 4 bagels costed us 89 cents. That is 22 cents per bagel. Can't get better than that.
Alright, and there we have it. That is our no yeast bagel done right here. This is looking really good. I'm going to dig in and just let you know how it tastes like. It's crusty, it's chewy, it's got the bite, and it's so easy to make. It takes less time compared to the yeast bagel, and it just tastes good, if not better, all things considered. I'm so glad that I took on this challenge and tried to make this bagel at home. It's so simple, it's no yeast, and like bagels in Australia, or at least in Brisbane, it's not as common and almost becomes a bit of a novelty that you go somewhere, you pay $8, $10, $15 just for a bagel, and this costs you this much. Well, I think we have our answer here. I hope you give this a try next time you're craving bagel. It's so easy and saves you so much money. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.